You're watching the 2022 Men's Under-21 World Lacrosse Championship on ESPN+. From Limerick, Ireland, the long-awaited tournament begins with a clash. The United States taking the field, having won all 8 championships that have ever taken place. They battle rival Canada in their opener. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. So happy to be with you for the next 10 days. This event has been postponed 2 years, dating back from 2020, and the United States is 47-2 all time in this junior event. The U.S. in the white on white, Canada in red on red, 71 degrees, mild temperatures here for this summer afternoon in Ireland. Underway with the opening faceoff, and the United States having possession with Jake Nasso of Holtsville, New York, an honorable mention All-American 2 years ago at Duke. Our 4 officials: Peter Davidson from England, Stephen Green of Australia, Jeff George from the Haudenosaunee, and Rob Powell of Scotland. This is a continuous clock that only stops with 30 seconds remaining in the first 3 quarters, 2 minutes and under in the 4th quarter, and the clock continues on goals and penalties. The United States here with Brennan O'Neill, and he is nearly dispossessed as he's trying to swim through on his dodge, and the ball squeezed to the turf by Caleb Creaser, the goalie from Huntsville, Ontario, who is from Lehigh, a lefty goalie. He has never started a game in his 3 years at Lehigh, but he starts here against the U.S. There is no failure to advance, so teams can be very, very patient at the international level in terms of getting the clear across. And that may slow down the games as Canada is able to work it across, and they'll get going 6-on-6 under head coach Matt Brown, longtime assistant and associate head coach under Bill Tierney at Denver. For the United States in goal, Liam Entenmann is in net, 6'3", 190 from Point Lookout, New York on the island. He has started every game of his 3 years at Notre Dame. A natural leader, returning honorable mention All-American into next season. Canada with 44, Thomas McConvey, a grad transfer just recently to Virginia on the midfield. McConvey being joined by Brock Haley and Graydon Hogg on the attack. Rather on the midfield, and Canada turns it over. So the U.S. has it on the attack for Canada. Ross Scott of Rutgers, Carter Page of St. Joe's, PA, and Owen Hiltz, who will be a redshirt sophomore at Syracuse. Entenmann, and the U.S. with the clear. Alex Slusher from Portland, Oregon. Super season at Princeton, along with Brennan O'Neill, will be a junior at Duke. Patrick Kavanaugh of Notre Dame. The first midfield with C.J. Kirst, a late addition to the roster in June. Kirst will be a sophomore at Cornell with Shane Knobloch of Rutgers, Graham Bundy of Georgetown on the first midfield. This is Cole Kirst, grad transferring in the offseason to Syracuse from Lehigh. So the Kirst brothers reunited on this U.S. roster this summer. O'Neill has the short stick against Trent DeChico, as this feed carried through, deflected, and Canada comes up with a takeaway. So Canada with a couple of stops, they look to push transition. Trent DeChico playing with a short stick. Down low, it comes down to the crease, it came. Entenmann challenged, ball out of bounds. The U.S. wins the race to the end line for backup. Scott beaten to it, and the U.S. will look for the clear. Jacob Snyder on the close D with Duke's Kenny Brower, Yale's Michael Alexander. Snyder will be a senior at Ohio State, playing for his head coach with the Buckeyes, Nick Myers, here in Ireland. And the U.S. gets it across with Graham Bundy in front of Caleb Creaser of Lehigh. Levi Virch, who'll be a sophomore at St. Joe's, PA. On the close D with Michael Grace, who is a junior at Division III RIT. The lone non-Division I guy on these 2 rosters, and Jack Follows, who will be a junior at Cornell. That's the close D for Canada. Patrick Kavanaugh Kavanaugh now having the defender, the short stick, Casey Wilson. Tremendous D-midi from Victoria, British Columbia. Will be a freshman at Denver, making a sophomore at Denver coming up. Kavanaugh takes it across, and Kavanaugh starts the scoring in the Under-21 World Championship. Patrick Kavanaugh out of Rockville Center, New York, one of many Kavanaughs who have played at the Division I level. At Notre Dame, their leading scorer with 64 points, including a program record 39 assists. And this is special to him with his older brother, Matt, who won a gold medal and was the tournament MVP for the U.S. in 2012 when they defeated Canada in Finland in overtime. Pat had watched those games online as a 12-year-old, and he's got the game's first goal here. So the U.S., after a couple of turnovers, Bo Columbus out of Robert Morris be the primary face-off man for Matt Brown this week. Jake Nasso able to dig it out and get it ahead to Kavanaugh. Columbus is the lone true face-off guy that the Canadians have here. The U.S. with Jake Nasso and Denver's Alex Stathakis. So Matt Brown, of course, knowing his guy quite well, and that'll be something to watch for between these two teams. And then should they meet again next Saturday on the 20th in the gold medal game. O'Neal drew the double. And the shake from the outside from Lance Tillman of North Carolina. Cole Kirst, second midfield here for Nick Myers. We see Brendan Grimes. This is Kavanaugh against Jack Follows. Kavanaugh, then over the head shot, off target. DeChico, the man defending. O'Neal digs out the ground ball. The possession remains alive for the United States. Tillman sweeping right, gets his hands free. Lance Tillman, 2-0 United States. A rocket from Lance Tillman once he turned the corner. He'll be a senior at North Carolina of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. And so special for Lance to make this team. He remembers watching the 2016 gold medal game, and he fell in love with the goal of making this team someday, not just being a Division I player. His grandmother is from Ireland, and Tillman is dual citizen here in Ireland and United States, and this is his first trip to his family's homeland. Columbus was able to pop it up in the air as Nasso scrapped for it, and the ground ball off the wing for the United States again. So they've taken the first three face-offs as racing ahead was Danny Parker, terrific short stick D-midi out of Virginia. And the U.S. well stocked, particularly in that thankless position of D-midi. Duke's Jake Caputo and Danny Parker will be likely the primary two for Nick Myers. The U.S. got here after a Sunday red-eye on Monday. They got just 2 practices in so far together. This is a shot, and there's pipe for the U.S. That's Shane Knobloch, the shot. Long rebound out to Graham Bundy. So for Nick Myers, it's been all about trying to get these guys together on the same page. A 2-year process to get these players reacclimated after the original tryout that took place back in 2019 as the U.S. able to make the play. Fine play made by Alexander to rescue the possession after the overpass. Now O'Neal. And O'Neal as the short stick, as he'd like to attack Casey Wilson. Now the switch. Kavanaugh swung it between a pair of teammates. And the recovery here from Bundy. Now O'Neal took a jab outside Bundy. Room in time. Creaser making the save. What an opportunity this week is for Caleb Creaser in this tournament. A lefty goalie, played in 7 games, just 1 save this year as the backup at Lehigh. Then shooting, room in time. Entenmann is able to make the transition save on Ty English. The U.S. they're trying to push. And Canada gets back in the hole defensively. Alex Slusher puts on the brakes. The U.S. getting goals from Pat Kavanaugh of Notre Dame, Lance Tillman of North Carolina. The United States all-time in this event, 47-2. Against Canada, 14-1 all-time. And the last time they met, a thrilling game in British Columbia in 2016. This is O'Neal shooting, easy save for Creaser. Creaser's outlet past his teammate, and on the follow-up, Alexander had the first crack at it, then the U.S. with Kenny Brower. And as Canada comes up with it, we have a timeout taken by Matt Brown and Canada. These two teams have taken very different paths to get to this point. And for Canada and Coach Matt Brown, the first thing that I think of notice is that Canada has had tons of their players playing in the Ontario Junior A Lacrosse League, indoor lacrosse. They've been playing a full season there. That culminates in late August Minto Cup with the top 2 qualifiers from Ontario and then 2 others from different provinces in Canada. That's a big event, of course, in Canada. And many of the players on the Canadian roster have been playing, and those are 25 game type seasons there. So they come in very, very, in terms of rhythm in season, following that up from the springtime into now. And perhaps at the end of this tournament, Canada's legs could be feeling some of that. Meanwhile, for the U.S., they don't have anybody playing Junior A. As we see Pat Kavanaugh, who had the first goal. So the U.S., you could make the argument, could be fresher. And we'll see how that will play out over these next 10 days. So there's the goal from Kavanaugh and then Tillman. Tillman with 21-9 this year. 10 starts, 14 games played at North Carolina. And meanwhile, for Nick Myers, it was all about keeping these guys fresh and loves the character of this team. Talking to Nick ahead of this tournament that he feels it's going to be character that goes out and wins them a world championship, not just talent. There's plenty of it, as we know, in the United States, but it's not an all-star game, and it's a mission of winning a world championship, what it takes to win. And he emphasized versatility and players that are going to immediately buy in and maybe play roles that are different than what they already do starring for their college teams. And with this being a U21 roster, and this will be, at least to this moment, the only time we'll ever have this because of the additional 1-year age that was granted to the players due to the 2-year hiatus in the pandemic. Save is made by Entenmann on Sam English on the dodge for Canada. And the U.S. will get the ball back. So Canada out of the timeout, got a good look. And Entenmann will start the clear. Entenmann locates Tillman, and the U.S. back to work, leading 2-0. Canada, meanwhile, they got here on Sunday. And on Monday, they played 3 30-minute scrimmages against Hong Kong, China, and Ireland. And in addition to all the experience that their players have gotten, the vast majority of the roster playing Ontario Junior A, they come in having played a ton of lacrosse since the college season ended. This is O'Neill. O'Neill, a couple of nice jabs from Alex Mariner. Will be a sophomore at Ohio State. Cole Kirst. Again, no shot clock in the international game. Kavanaugh continues to take a couple of chop checks and love taps from Jack Follows. Now it's Slusher. Kirst, the throwback, look to the back pipe. He had an open teammate momentarily, Brendan Grimes, and Canada with another defensive stand here. And they'll look to pay it off to close out this first quarter. Again, the clock will stop on any ball out of bounds with 30 seconds or goal or under in the first 3 quarters, and the same with 2 minutes or under in the fourth. So Thomas McConvey-Holtz, 6'4", 210-pound midfielder from Toronto, who just concluded a four-year great career at Vermont. Highly sought after in the grad transfer market. 25 seconds left for Canada. They got a good look during their last trip down on a shot by Sam English. Short time for Canada. And look at the U.S. defend, and they tie up Owen Hiltz, and then eventually coming up with an Entenmann the stop. The U.S. the defensive stand at the end of the first quarter. Goals from Kavanaugh and Tillman. The U.S. having the overwhelming amount of possession advantage, but their lead is just 2. We are just getting started from the 2022 World Lacrosse Men's Under-21 World Championship from Limerick, Ireland on ESPN+. 2-0 United States as we start the second quarter here from Limerick, Ireland. Ralph Bednarczyk back with you. The first game out of 86 games that will be played over the next 10 days for the men's under-21 World Lacrosse Championships. Shots 6-3 U.S. at the end of one, 2 saves apiece. The U.S. 3-0 in the face-offs, but the U.S. turned it over 3 times. Bo Columbus continues to be in there for Canada, and he'll likely take the lion's share of the face-offs here during the tournament. And Nick Myers is going to alternate between Nassau, and here's Alex Stathakis of Northville, Michigan. He'll be a senior at Denver, first team All-Big East last year, and they're a great complement to one another. Stathakis 56% as the #1 face-off guy at Denver this year. Well, that time procedure called, so it's 4-0 face-offs for the United States. Shane Knobloch out of the box. Knobloch, easy save for Creaser. And then Creaser to try to outlet, and here comes Canada with a chance to perhaps ignite some offense. Casey Wilson to transition. And the U.S. able to get back defensively as Carter Page puts on the brakes. Talking to the 2 coaches about how different this junior championship is, and perhaps the most unique one we'll ever have. Because this tournament was originally scheduled to be played here in Limerick Island in 2020, then got pushed to 2021 as we get a face guard off ball right now, with Casey Wilson kind of holding off against Graham Bundy. Now Wilson is a short stick D-midi, and so Canada, I think, is going to be okay with a 5-on-5. This is Entenmann out of cage, and the U.S. gets the ball on the ground, and they'll pick it up. Jacob Snyder able to eventually grab it. Been a starter every game of his Ohio State career. And the U.S. to transition. Here's Patrick Hackler. Dynamite D-midi out of Yale. Brennan O'Neill. O'Neill the skip pass, Kavanaugh off the hitch. And all over his hands, Canada's Reed Kurtz, standout from Delaware. Delaware, the reigning CAA regular season titles and tournament championships this year, and then pulling off a big upset over 2-seeded Georgetown and Graham Bundy in the first round of the NCAAs. Slusher. That's Michael Grace working on him, a 6'5" defenseman from Hamilton, Ontario. 3rd team Division III All-American this year at RIT. And under Coach Jay Kuhn, they are 2-time defending Division III champs going into next year. Tillman got on the cross. O'Neill with the shot over the top. Buries it in the corner pocket. Brennan O'Neill, 3-0 United States. So Tillman just able to get a little bit of a slide, and that's enough room and time for O'Neill. O'Neill, one of 6 collegians invited to the first round of U.S. Senior National Team Camp that's taking place in September at U.S. Lacrosse. 2nd team All-American this year at Duke, where he was John Danowski's leading scorer with 74 points. And Nick Myers has enjoyed this unique opportunity to coach someone that is considered to be so special after bursting onto the scene, leading Long Island in scoring as an 8th grader at Bayshore High School. Another face-off win for the U.S. It's now 5-0 as Stathakis came up with it. But for O'Neal, winning has been at the forefront of his career. He's talked about that often, particularly the last year, and the process of making Team USA. Slusher in tight creaser makes the save, and then able to fetch the ball from crossing the goal line. That one popped out, and fortunately for him, this is a natural grass surface. I might add, a super grass surface that you might compare to Wimbledon. It is very well maintained here at the University of Limerick. And perhaps on an artificial surface, that ball might have spun, and the give off the turf might have found that in the back of the net. That's now 4 saves in goal by Caleb Creaser. So that matches his 2022 high. He made 4 saves playing 12 minutes against Holy Cross this year in Mappa. So a big opportunity for him today, and so far he has held Canada in it. The other goalie for Canada is Aidan Walsh, who is already a pro draft choice with the Georgia Swarm in the NLL. That's Sam English. He and his younger brother Ty English, both on this Canadian roster. Noah Manning of British Columbia on for the first time, plays at Denver. Throwback by Adam Poitras from Whitby, a senior at Loyola. English. Sam English got the slide. Poitras, room and time. Off target, Canada has backup. Poitras playing this summer for the Whitby Warriors in Ontario Junior A, where he's had a big summer, over 100 points. Poitras got the step, and then the late closeout check, very subtly done. Well done by Jake Caputo. There is Scott, and I think that's the name that has not been involved as much for Canada as we might have expected. Timeout taken here by the United States, 7:55 left. So talking more about U.S. success here, the United States winning the 2016 U19 World Championship. They had to do it on foreign soil at Canada, winning a true road game from the Canadians 13-12, the last time these two teams met. But the U.S. in that game had to rally back from a 6-0 deficit. It was a standing room only crowd taking place in British Columbia. U.S. trailed 8-2 at the half. And they had to battle back before Ryan Conrad scoring with 8 seconds left in regulation. And that's what won the U.S. their most competitive championship game yet of this event, to go 8-0 in championships, as we see the Brennan O'Neal goal. But we're starting to see the rise of other countries at the junior level. Australia, very excited about what they have here. England has been together a very long time, close to a 5-year process for Coach Ryan Garnsworthy, where he estimates they probably have somewhere in the vicinity of 200 practices together as a junior national team. So it's going to be very interesting to see what that extra year or two does in terms of growth. And again, this is the first year where we have it be formally a U21. Moving forward, it's going to be a U20. After the first 8 times through, it was a U19 event. So you're looking at some high school seniors, mainly college freshmen. Now you're looking at rosters that are loaded with college All-Americans. The United States has 8 college All-Americans from this spring. While Canada has 3. And that's just never happened before. It would nearly be impossible. How many freshman All-Americans are you realistically going to have? Canada out of the timeout. Graydon Hogg as they moved along from McConvey. Hogg falls down, flag is out for the first time. Free shot perhaps for Canada. So Hiltz down to the stick of Ross Scott, who is from West Lynn, Oregon, but Canadian heritage from the Pacific Northwest. Save is made by Entenmann, and now we'll check on the game's first flag. A 30-second hold against the United States. And what feels like a crucial man up for Canada. They start with Brock Haley at the top of the umbrella. That's 77. Owen Hiltz, a lefty shooter on the wing. Hiltz now inside the high crease area. Shot by Ross Scott, good closeout by the U.S. coming from Kenny Brower of Duke. Just one shot. Hiltz. And we are all even. Entenmann making one more save. Alexander leaves it for him in the crease. Best save so far from Leon Entenmann. And the U.S. will begin the clear. Entenmann, honorable mention All-American this year for Kevin Corrigan at Notre Dame. And the U.S. can be patient here. Talking more about how this event has evolved, Nick Myers is the first college coach, a head coach or an assistant coach at the college level, to be the head coach of the junior national team. The first 7 coaches of the event were all high school coaches. And very great and notable ones like Bob Shriver of Boys Latin, Joe Cuso of Ward Melville, Tim Flynn of Mountain Lakes, all national name brand high school programs and coaches. But getting the sense being around this event that it's going to be college head coaches moving forward. And a great balancing act for Nick Myers because he's in the middle of a recruiting cycle too in the month of July.
All right, 250. Hey, CJ. No, hey, just a whip. Give it space. Grip.
Canada showing a little zone here.
Keep drifting, Lance. Step in, Lance.
O'Neal, Tillman.
Step in, right back. Yep. Get it caught.
And with a little bit of an angle, tough angle shot coming from the wing for the United States.
Rock it. Rock it. Yo, hey, we're 150 on curve. Flush. Flush. Let it develop here. Good cut, Cole. Good, take a look.
Creaser has made 4 stops already for Canada. Tillman now onto the wing. Creaser's got another. Stick to stick. Cole Kirst was the shooter for the U.S. And Canada trying to transition. As Ty English quickly whipped it ahead. Here comes a now healthy Owen Hiltz, who missed his entire sophomore year this spring at Syracuse. Season-ending shoulder injury in January in a scrimmage. Back healthy and looking great. And Matt Brown calls him a big-time playmaker. And he's been playing with the Peterborough Lakers this summer in Ontario Junior A, having a nice season. And Hiltz's injury, a big reason why the Orange finished just 4-10. And that was Syracuse's first 10-loss season as a program in year 1 of the Gary Gait era. Poitras would like to try to feast against the D-Midi Hackler. Poitras got inside, and Poitras starts the scoring with a flag out. Canada looking for someone to initiate and be aggressive. Poitras does. Just got Hackler a little bit leaning in one direction. And then with a speed dodge from GLE. So it'll be a 1-minute cross-check against the United States. So a big moment here for Canada, trying to pair goals together. And you see the hit coming. I think they're going to get Kenny Brower for the hit at the end. And it is Brower in the box. So no face-off either, and that's a big bonus the way we see this shaking out for the Canadians. So 1 minute man up, the first of the afternoon for Canada. Hiltz at top, McConvey. Hiltz down low, tough angle finish, beautifully. Graydon Hogg, 3-2. So Canada converts on the man up. And the pass rifled in from Hiltz. Graydon Hogg, they call him Hogger, a lefty that Matt Brown says is not much different than his offensive coordinator, the great Merrick Thompson. And someone they think could be a future NLL All-Star, a team leading 38 points this year at Albany. Nassau, another clean face-off win. 6-0 U.S. in that category. And we'll get a timeout here from Nick Myers. So with 53.7 seconds remaining, the U.S. to script something out here. As I touched on, it's been such a long journey to get to this point, with tryouts going way back to the 2019, early 2019 wintertime. The United States went a year and a half without seeing each other until June of 2021. It was just them, no outside competition. Nick Myers reassessed the roster. They had 25 guys, but then last November of 21, they brought in a couple extra guys to look at, playing North Carolina and Ohio State in an exhibition, and they made a couple of adjustments since, including the late pickup of C.J. Kirst in June. And every team playing in this event has had their roster change from the spring of 2020, if not the fall of 2019, when they announced their rosters. For the United States, they have 4 different players. But for Canada, show you their pair of goals. This one, the man up. Hiltz finding Hogg just above GLE. And the way the roster shook out, 4 players from Duke, tied with Yale for the most of any college program. The U.S. has 4 ACC teams represented, with Duke, Carolina, Notre Dame, and Virginia. Syracuse represented on Team Canada. So the U.S. out of the timeout. They led 2-0 after 1 and led 3-0 early in the second quarter after a Brennan O'Neill goal. Kavanaugh.
Stretch him, Slush. Stretch him. Not yet. Not yet. Eagle, Cav.
Okay, Jack.
With Jack Follows defending.
All right, we're green.
Okay, Jack.
Time to go for Pat Kavanaugh. And on the rollback right, flip pass inside. Creaser, another save. The rebound is there for the U.S. as it's forced out. Kavanaugh with 1 second, could not get a shot off. Caleb Creaser making his 5th save. And that is a career high spanning college now to the international game. The U.S. with a 3-2 lead at half in the opening game of the men's under-21 World Championship from Limerick, Ireland. We'll be back with more, including our first half highlights on ESPN+. .2 is our halftime score. Welcome back here to the University of Limerick. Limerick, Ireland. We're about 2.5 hours south of Dublin. And the United States leading this under-21 opening game of the Lacrosse World Championships. 3-2. Ralph Bednarczyk with you. Let's show you our first half highlights. U.S. started the scoring after a couple turnovers. First couple possessions, there was Pat Kavanaugh. Able to go one-on-one against the defender. Then later, first quarter, Lance Tillman able to sweep to his right. Got the little brush screen and enough to free up his hands. 2-0 U.S. after one. The U.S. would dominate possessions and face-offs. That's Brennan O'Neill able to hitch just to his left and bury it past Caleb Creaser. Canada finally late in the first half That was Adam Poitras with a flag out that led to an ensuing 1-minute med up. And you'll see Owen Hiltz fire it down low in, and Graydon Hogg able to bury it. And that's where we are, 3-2 at halftime. We'll show you first half numbers when we come back. But the United States, despite the possession-heavy advantage, their lead is just one over Canada from Ireland.
Have you booked that trip to Ireland yet?
Press the green button and visit the island of Ireland. See Ireland.com.
Finds the make sure she's in a better position to shoot right in front of that goal cage.
Hang on to that lead the entire second half. Beautiful shot again.
Just happy to be a part of it right now for all the younger generations and hopefully pave the way for them so little girls younger than me can become Olympians.
It's coming. The world is coming to San Diego. 30 nations, 30 teams. Only one will be crowned world champion. There's nothing like playing for your country. This is the pinnacle of sport. Be here as legacies are forged and history is made.
Fasten your seatbelt.
The game you've always loved just found a new gear.
Introducing World Lacrosse Sixes.
It's speed and scoring,
Tempo and transition.
athleticism and action.
It's big-time energy packed onto a smaller playing surface.
It's the game you've always loved, brought to you at warp speed.
It's lacrosse on the Autobahn.
Don't blink. This is World Lacrosse Sixes.
Kind of a mild afternoon for the summertime. The weather could be hit or miss at times in the summer in Ireland. 71 degrees at start, 3-2, the United States leading Canada at the half. So as we start the third quarter, 3-2 United States. Shots are 10 apiece, but Canada playing a much better second quarter after the U.S. 6-3 in shots at the end of one. Turnovers 3 apiece. 5 saves in goal for Canada's Caleb Creaser of Lehigh, who has made a total of just... His career high is 4 saves against Holy Cross this year. So with 5 saves, he's going to set some new career highs for himself for his collegiate career. But the face-off issue for Matt Brown could be glaring, at least against the United States in this game, and should the two teams meet up in the gold medal game. It's 6-0 United States there, and it's about to be 7. Jake Nasso facing off to start the third quarter, wins another one cleanly. And we'll see if Canada will start to mix it up and maybe double pole. They played a ton of time in the first quarter on defense. Creaser held them in, and it was only 2-0 U.S. at the end of one. And right now, that looms very large that the U.S. could not separate from the Canadians. Shane Knobloch. Here's C.J. Kirst. Burst onto the scene this year, being the Ivy League Rookie of the Year, second team All-Ivy for Cornell, as the Big Red reached the NCAA final, losing to Maryland. Knobloch steps into one. Creaser making the save again. Off the stick, and Canada with the clean. And a chance for the Canadians to tie. Here is Ross Scott. Did not carry or initiate much in that opening half as Kenny Brower has been on him. Nick Myers talking about his cover guys. Brower, along with Michael Alexander, thunder and lightning between those two. McConvey, and as they look to win the substitution game with Hogg coming on. McConvey, two-time first-team All-America East. Scott this time gets the short stick, and Hackler drew the double, then the pass deflected. The skip past Jacob Snyder with the active stick again for the United States. And the call will go against the U.S. So Carter Page backs it out. Coach Taylor Ray, an assistant on the Canadian staff, the head coach at St. Joe's. Ray was the head coach of the Canadian U19 squad in 2012 and 2016. All-world player during his time. Brock Haley. As Haley threw it back, that's Hogg the shot. As Scott off the end line. Scott, a third-team All-American this season. McConvey tried to go one more inside. He was tied up, and the U.S. gets the ball on the ground again. As it comes outside the scrum, Scott was able to shovel it along. It's a little bit unsettled. Trying to walk it through was Page, and then Page had his stick chopped out by Brower. And the call against Canada. Kenny Brower with a caused turnover. He'll be a senior at Duke with 2 years of eligibility remaining, third-team All-American this year. And he, like many others on these rosters, has started every game of his 3-year college career so far. So Brendan Grimes comes on. This is Brennan O'Neill. Kavanaugh angles his way into the high crease area. Could not get that ball on target. And the Canadians able to collapse on Kavanaugh. Quickly off the end line, Slusher. Then that feed high away from Kavanaugh. Tillman a little bit of a no look. And Kavanaugh was open for a potential slam dunk on the sneak. So as the U.S. turns it over, Canada another chance to tie the game. And this is Entenmann coming out to challenge on the angle. And Liam Entenmann out of cage makes a dazzling play. Oh, both goalies have been terrific in this opening game. The first out of 86 games here from Limerick, Ireland. This is the first of 22 that you'll be able to watch on our ESPN family of networks. 20 games will be on ESPN Plus, mainly games out of Pool A. These two teams, along with Australia, England, and the Haudenosaunee. Tonight on ESPN Plus, after the opening ceremonies, a special game out of Pool B with the host nation Ireland hosting Germany, which is a very interesting game. And Germany has a team that's been together a long time too. And all culminating on Saturday the 20th with the gold medal game in prime time here in Ireland. It'll be an afternoon game that you'll be able to watch on ESPN television and of course ESPN Plus. Creaser the save on O'Neill. Well, no one in front of him. O'Neill probably had a little bit more room to try to dodge in. Took the step down instead from about 9 yards. And right now the U.S. is not fooling Caleb Creaser at all. Poitras. English trying to sweep right. Samuel English. Piltz. Across for Noah Manning. Manning got inside. Canada has tied the game at 3. Piltz drawing some attention. It was enough attention. Then Noah Manning off the face dodge. And playing for Matt Brown here and Canada. In the midst of a great summer playing for Victoria in the British Columbia Junior Lacrosse League. Only made one start this year at Denver, 8 goals, 3 assists. Playing behind Alex Simmons in that left side role. But they expect him to jump into the starting lineup on what should be a deep Denver team next spring. And here Canada with Bo Columbus having momentarily come up with a face-off. And the first time we've had a real 50-50 battle, but the ball will be pointed over to the United States. But that in itself is a victory for the Canadians. Able to get it to be a 50-50 ball and at least make the United States work for it. Kavanaugh throws it back. Tillman, rather Kirst, looking for a better look, and I think the shot never got through. Canada the block. A chance to perhaps get some transition here and take the lead for the first time. They got the pole, follows coming out. Scott one more, and then it was dropped. There in good position defensively was the U.S. and Cole Kirst. So Kirst got stuck a little bit on the defensive end. Canada holding off on pressure so far in this game in terms of any full field ride. And in the bigger picture, talking to both coaches, they understand that this is just game one. They may see each other in 10 days on the 20th. And just as we saw in the Women's World Championships, the coaches don't want to show their cards in the first meeting in pool play because of the likelihood that you may see each other in a gold medal game. That pass, C.J. Kirst under heavy pressure, and that got away from him. So as we hit 5 minutes left, third quarter, the Canadians have been able to steady this game after a rocky start, trailing 3-0, have yet to win a faceoff. But they could have the lead in this game against the U.S., having gone over from the X. Hogg slips a pass through. Entenmann the save on the rebound. It was there for a moment before the U.S. will grab it. The shot coming from the D-mini, Trent DeChico. And Canada gets the ball back. Ryan Schreiber, the pole for the U.S. of Wilton, Connecticut, who'll be a senior in Michigan, was able to gobble up the rebound. Brock Haley will be a senior at two-time America East defending champion Vermont. What a job done by Chris Fipes since he took over. Save is made on McConvey again by Entenmann. On the second chance, what's the call? It'll be in the crease on the quick feed to follow by McConvey. So how things have shifted as it's been Liam Entenmann that's had to keep the U.S. very much in it or tied with the Canadians. Graham Bundy to step in. Slusher, O'Neill, and Kavanaugh have stayed as the starting attack group for Nick Myers. C.J. Kirst on the midfield run, along with Shane Knobloch and Graham Bundy. Bundy, the Big East Midfielder of the Year. Georgetown are four-time defending Big East Tournament champions. C.J. Kirst had initially tried out for the roster way back in early 2019. Nick Myers has seen his ascension as a player, and he was the late addition in June. Shane Knobloch. And Knobloch able to get topside just enough. Missing cage. The U.S. with 1:45 left. Again, no shot clock. Knobloch got hurt at the Final Four. And the U.S. and staff, they have monitored his health since coming back. There is Bundy able to step into one. The U.S. back in front. Perhaps surprising Canada with the shot. And Bundy found himself straight away a little bit of room in time after this flip pass from Shane Knobloch. Just got the ball in a sweet spot. So Graham Bundy will be a senior at Georgetown. He's the first from the state of Missouri to play for Team USA. Had an incredible 45 goals, 25 assists this year at Georgetown as Nassau wins another faceoff. The U.S. is 8-0 in that category, but they turn it over and then get it back. Jake Caputo, the hustle to dislodge it, and the U.S. back to work. Short time here, 25 seconds remaining in the third. Lance Tillman. Cavanaugh with 10, trying to get away from follows. Now the sweep, and with the left, Brendan Grimes. The U.S. back by 2. Grimes, a natural lefty, at 6'4", 220 from Lutherville, Maryland. And very much a building block at Johns Hopkins. So the U.S. totaling 2 late goals here in the third. They've added time to 3.7. And the U.S. winning one more face-off. And that is it as we go to the fourth. Bundy unties it. Grimes adds another. But this game very much in the balance. The U.S., despite their overwhelming possession and face-off advantage, leads Canada by just 2 as we go to the fourth on ESPN+. Good morning if you're watching in the United States or Canada, North America. Welcome worldwide. Ralph Bednarczyk with you on ESPN+. 5-3, the United States leading Canada in the opening game of the 2022 Under-21 Men's World Lacrosse Championship from the University of Limerick in Ireland. Jake Nasso back in there to face off for the U.S. Bo Columbus continues for Canada, and the face-off number is now officially 11-0 United States. And there's only been one procedure called and one real true 50-50. As that pass is knocked down, as the U.S. with Jake Caputo trying to ignite transition. And the U.S. will keep it here. So for Matt Brown in Canada, again, the face-off issue, if they find themselves trailing by multiple goals, that looms very large here. And while we still have 14 minutes left, but I think if you're Canada, you have to play with great urgency right now. You just may not get the ball enough or with enough time left if you have to climb out of a 2 or multiple goal lead.
Sir, you cannot push our picker like that. Sir, you cannot push our picker in the back like that.
O'Neill worked on Matt Wright, the terrific long pole midi from Oakville, Ontario. He'll be a senior at North Carolina. Injury-plagued year this year, as Creaser came out to challenge, and Creaser comes up with it. That was O'Neill. That took a shot from one of the Canadian players, and now Canada is able to work it in and settle through Trent DeChico. DeChico, a super utility guy for Canada. He can play on the wings, long pole midi. Had an injury playing for Nick Myers in the springtime. And both of our head coaches here are facing players from their college teams. The U.S. has done a very good job today on Ross Scott. Now it is Hackler to deal with him. Slide comes, room and time, buried. Scott saw his teammate cut and his eyes opened up. Second goal for Noah Manning, 5-4. Scott noticing the very first step that the sliding defender takes. That's all it took. And that vacates a little hole for Manning to step into. So Scott with his first point. Alex Slusher from the U.S. is a Portland native. Ross from West Lynn, Oregon. Remarkable growth of the game that there are 2 players from the state of Oregon here at the U21s. And a face-off win for Canada and Columbus. And he outlets back for Creaser. So a headline for Canada as they show they can win one. And now they look for the equalizer again. Canada got a Manning goal early third quarter to tie this game up at 3. Alex Mariner looking for the next pass, and Canada will preserve this possession by spending a timeout. So a 5-4 game, 11.5 left. And don't be deceived by the all-time mark. The growth of Canada lacrosse has been shown, and particularly in this 6-year gap, asking Matt Brown about this. Their current roster is made up with a lot of Ontario guys, and they took the team out to British Columbia to try to market the game a little bit further. And asking Matt about how the sport has grown, the field sport has grown in Canada. They're starting to get the other provinces also really grow, and he has one of the all-time greats, Jeff Snyder, terrific face-off man on his staff, who runs a club team, Elevate Lacrosse, in Alberta. As we see the goal here, Scott finding Manning. And Canada continues to break their own records. This year, in the spring of 22, there were 178 Canadians on Division I men's college rosters. And I think it's just a matter of time before that number reaches 200. And it's the other positions. As Matt Brown, I asked him to compare things when he was a teenager, that in 2005, his under-19 training camp, when he played, there was maybe a handful of college lacrosse helmets. Then he went to college, the Gates went to Syracuse, then a bunch of Division II guys. Now, at Canada's training camp, basically every single guy, besides Mike Grace from RIT, is a Division I guy. And they're really making a point of emphasis that places like Manitoba, Prince Edward Island, they're getting more volume even in their hotbed areas. Like Ottawa, which was always good, and now Ottawa is rising as an area. And Canada attempting to defeat the U.S. for just the second time at the junior level. Over the top, Hogg, and Tamin the save. So the good skip pass that came from Ross Scott. And Entenmann seeing the ball great today. He has now matched Caleb Creaser. 9 saves between our two goalies apiece. Entenmann will fire it through for Lance Tillman. Kirst setting the screen, trying to free up Kavanaugh, and Kavanaugh will get the D-midi. Kavanaugh, flip pass across, has Slusher! What a feed from Kavanaugh, his second dish. And Kavanaugh causing headaches, taking on Ty English in there as a D-midi. And English a step or two behind. Slusher at Princeton this year was their second leading scorer for Matt Madelon, 44 goals, 53 points. The 9th most single-season goals in Princeton history. And they moved him where he was a starting midfielder back in 2020, and 2 years later on the attack. Procedure called. Actually, they'll redo the face-off. So the Canada coaching staff upset. And Columbus with a slash on the back on Nassau that he may have gotten away with. And the U.S. gets it. No, he did not get away with it. There is a flag out on the other end of the field. So the U.S. with a free shot will hit 8 minutes left, and their lead at 6-4. So as Slusher holds and organizes. Well, they blow the play dead, and this takes the free shot away from the U.S.
With the 13 free. Hey, with the 13 free. Let's go, get off the field, Ready? Ready. You're coming to the box. Ready. You're immediate.
So it's going to be, might have been that first check out of the two on Bo Columbus. So the U.S. with a man up.
We're in it right now. We're in it now.
First man up for the U.S. today. So as the 1 minute slash on Canada's Bo Columbus. Kirst, Slusher. Five seconds remaining. O'Neal. And we're all even, so the U.S. does not shoot until O'Neal does there. O'Neal steps into his second. The U.S. converts just seconds after the man up expired, and they lead by 3 for the second time this afternoon. Great patience there from the U.S. in no real hurry to force anything. Two for O'Neal, a goal and 2 assists for Patrick Cavanaugh to lead the U.S. Columbus, and he comes up with the draw, and instead he'll be called for the push. Well, Columbus is a bigger face-off guy, 6'2", 200. He'll be a junior at Robert Morris. A late add to the June camp in Langley, British Columbia. He made the team then. He's faced off against Jake Nassau when Robert Morris faced Duke and did not have a great game then. Columbus spent his freshman year at Division II Mercyhurst, where he dominated at 79%.
Right there, CJ. Graham, get off the crease, Graham. Graham Bundy, get off the crease. Graham, over the top.
CJ Kirst, Ty English trying to go around, and a flag is out. He's going to call for a hold. So now a free shot for the U.S. Kirst rolls back, and that's side netting. And Kirst knew it, that he forced that shot. So now the U.S. will get the benefit of a 30. And you notice the clock continues to move here until we hit 2 minutes. So a great advantage for the team that leads in this situation. Normally the clock would stop in this case, but there are a lot of windows where you can milk the clock in the international game and put games away. So the 30-second hold against Ty English of Canada.
Stay wide. Wider. Ready for pressure, team. Good, through X. Cole, over here with you, buddy. Over here to Cole. Cole, just hold it. Good. Flush, I want you wider. Wide.
Now the U.S. is going to let this full 30 expire before they go back to work. So we're all even. Nearing 3 minutes left, and Canada needs to come out and force the issue.
Look at the goalie. Look at CJ.
Slusher. Slusher got caught along the sideline, dangerous spot, and Nick Myers, still with a timeout remaining, will use it here with 2:52 to play. The first game out of a total of 86 games here from Limerick, Ireland. 6 years between events. And the U.S. trying to extend their dominance. They've won all 8 previous meetings, going back to 1988 in this championship. They've defeated Canada in 6 of the 8 championships that they've won, including the last 5. But the last one in 2016, a great game that Canada let a game slip from them, led the game 8-2 at half. Australia has been the other team that has advanced to the final on 2 other occasions in '92 and 1996. But a record high 23 different countries represented in this championship as the game continues to grow at the junior level. And perhaps the next cycle, whenever it is in 4 years, we'll see 25, 27 teams that play at what will be called a U20. Temperatures have risen, but we started at 71 degrees, so it was kind of cool walking around. You needed a little bit of a fall jacket. But great news for the team's low humidity. There's a chance of even some thunderstorms coming up on the weekend. But in terms of weather conditions, we're expecting it to be kind of nice and cool for all these players that are trying to fit in playing 8 games in 10 days. Canada about to jump on O'Neill with a double. And O'Neill trying to take it to the end line. Creaser is out of goal, then O'Neill, he's in the crease. So Canada forces the turnover. And their comeback will have to begin now. Under 2:40 left. And Canada will need to try to get a quick one here and then figure out what they can do to try to at least muck up and slow down Nassau and Stathakis in the face-off X. Poitras gave it up. Sam English. English stumbles down, kept possession. Flag is out against the U.S. Poitras goes across. The rollback McConvey down low off the fake. Scott gets one. 7-5 game. Clock stops with 1:54 left. Nice feed from McConvey, never panicking in that situation. So they picked the flag up. It was just going to be a 30 rather than a 1 minute, so we will have a face-off. So it's 7-5. Nassau against Beau Columbus of Canada. Nassau wins the face-off, and it's 13-1. Timeout U.S. And that is the overwhelming headline of this game. And the United States 141 away. It was 10-0 U.S. at half. And still, most of the face-offs have been clean wins for the U.S. combination of Jake Nassau of Duke and Alex Stathakis of Denver. So the United States turned it over last time as they try to make sure of this one today. This game started out 3-0. U.S. got a goal from Brennan O'Neill early second quarter, but then Poitras scored and then picked up a 1-minute foul, a cross-check against the U.S. Braden Hogg would follow it up and make it 3-2 at half, and then Canada, I think, went into the half feeling pretty good about things. Noah Manning tied it at 3, but then Bundy and Grimes to close out the third quarter gave the U.S. a 5-3 lead. Manning made it 5-4. But then the big goals, Slusher from Kavanaugh and then Brennan O'Neill to make it 7-4. It looks like that may be enough of a U.S. cushion.
Okay, time. Our ball,
it wide. Get out of the goal. Away from the goal. Cal. Yeah, go to the corner. By me. Let that goal away. Cal, be open. Cal's got the goal. Good, Cal. Nobody on yet. All right, now you got the goalie.
Slusher double teamed, and Canada turns over the U.S. again. So same concept, they immediately double the ball, and the U.S. tried to dodge through it rather than just trying to find an open man. Sam English. Canada's caused 5 turnovers in this game. And McConvey into the box against Jake Caputo. Gets past him, shooting, and a shot blocked. Kenny Brower has had a fantastic game for the U.S. Canada comes up with the possession. So they'll call a timeout here with 1:11 remaining. Kenny Brower able to be a stud-free safety there and get into the path of that shot from McConvey. Great courage there from Kenny Brower. Massapequa, New York native from Long Island, where he was a high school All-American and first team Long Island. And he has done a great job today in his matchups, particularly against Ross Scott. Well, meanwhile, for Canada, as Matt Brown has talked about, you don't want to overcomplicate things with this kind of talent. And they've gotten Ross Scott much more involved in the second half. And he's continued to harp on keeping things simple, just putting in themes and concepts and letting these players be great players. They're already, in many cases, 3 years into their college careers. Tons of games and college practices relative to the previous cycles where you were dealing with high school seniors or college freshmen. Canada will put the ball in the stick of Brock Haley. Scott locates the cutter. Manning, great save, Entenmann! As he kicks it out, the U.S. able to pick it up. Schreiber looks for an outlet. And Schreiber shovels it along. Back into the stick of Leon Entenmann, who organizes. And the U.S. looks for one clear to try to seal a victory here at the Under-21 World Championships. Entenmann continues to play catch as it goes across with 25 seconds left. And now the U.S. with Michael Alexander speeding ahead as they get it across here to Danny Parker. Parker spins out of some would-be tacklers. And the U.S. is going to pull out an impressive victory today. One they had to earn after overwhelming Canada, particularly early in the face-off advantage. The Canadians fight back, but the U.S. gets a grip on things and wins 7-5 in Ireland. The U.S. opens their Under-21 World Championship with a victory, celebrating behind their outstanding goalie from Notre Dame, Liam Entenmann. Entenmann was marvelous in this one. Entenmann finishing with a total of 10 saves. The U.S. 7-5. They outlast the Canadians today. Coming up tonight, after the opening ceremonies, Ireland, the host country, will take on Germany. You'll be able to watch that game worldwide on ESPN+. For our entire crew today, my name is Ralph Benarchik saying so long and goodbye from Limerick, Ireland. You've been watching the 2022 World Lacrosse Under 21 Men's Championship on ESPN+.